Today's episode of Namaste Yoga is on karma. It's the long-awaited and much-requested episode. Hello, welcome to episode 2. Here's our blanket. Excellent. Asymmetrical twist. Dropping and sinking. Notice how joining us for the second episode next week. Namaste. Hello and welcome to episode 78 of Namaste Yoga. I want to thank the over 15,000 viewers that watch Namaste Yoga each month and want to give a special thanks to all our sponsors. It's sponsors like you that allow us to continue to offer this yoga podcast free and distribute it weekly. So I want to say a special thanks to a few people who have made some donations. One is Viola from Italy. Another is a new donator. This is Chris Hayes from Edmonton, Alberta, a fellow Canadian, a Canuck. And then I want to also thank Warren Hope. Warren is one of our monthly subscribers, and he donates $2 a month. And this is fantastic. So even a donation, a really small donation, monthly donation, makes a huge difference to us. I meant to say that Chris donated $10, and then Viola is incredibly generous. She donates $10 a month. So whatever you can afford, it all helps, and it all makes a difference to us being able to offer you high quality yoga video podcasts. And really, it allows me the time to put aside to do what I do each week and to bring you yoga classes. So today's yoga class is on karma. I've been recommending books at the beginning of each episode too, because that's my weakness when it comes to aparigraha, non-hoarding, is books. And people ask me often for recommendations. So I wanted to recommend this version of the Yoga Sutras. To me, it's one of the most beautiful translations, one of the most poetic ones I've ever come across. It's written by It's translated by Alberto Velodo, and he is a shaman, and so he brings that energy of connecting earth, animals, and humans, and the web of life all together in this translation, and I think it reads really well. And a lot of translations of the Yoga Sutras can be quite heady and quite intellectual, and this is a really beautiful translation, one that you can sit with and read again and again and interpret on many levels, which the sutras are meant to be done. So we'll be working with that in today's class. So you can go ahead and choose to start your practice either resting back on your back, or you could support yourself in a seated position for class today. As I mentioned, today's yoga class is on karma, and I have to say this is one of the most widely used words from yoga philosophy in our modern current culture. It shows up, I hear it all the time in movies and casual conversations, and the way that it's understood in these contexts is a bit surface level and not really taking into account the depth of philosophy behind it. So a lot of people popularly understand karma as being a punishment or a reward, either being punished for our sins or rewarded for our good deeds. And this kind of assumes a looming over male patriarchal God. And this is just not how karma goes. Karma is a real intricate web of life, and we'll get into that a little bit. The other way that I've heard karma described is almost like wishing ill on another person, like that karma will get that person, and that one can be satisfied because their karma will catch up with them. And I think too that this is not really a very productive way of looking at karma. So let's look at how karma is explained in yoga philosophy from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Karma is quite simply the cycle of actions seeding other actions. And so in a lot of ways, today's episode is definitely a part 2 of last week's episode on samskaras. So if you haven't done that one yet, I really encourage you to go back and do that one first and then do this one. In the Yoga Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita, karma is considered really neutral energy, and then it is activated by our minds and emotions, and that manifests into action. Karma is definitely influenced by the kleshas, and we did a whole episode on the kleshas back a few episodes too, which I encourage you to go back to. And what happens is that our inner light dims because of these veils or these delusions we have about ourselves, these distorted ideas of who we are, which in turn alters our motives and our actions. So when we're unable to act with our own true nature, and so we did an episode on that a few episodes ago. See why this one you had to wait for so many episodes? There was a lot of material that had to come before it. So as I said, unable to identify with our own true nature, we think and act for material gain. So karma is not black and white, but it's a rainbow of colors, and each karma brings to us a lesson and a message that helps to support our lives and shape our lives. Now, karma is neither good or bad, but it's determined by how we treat it. And I love Nichola Joy's Davies' example of that. She has a fabulous translation of the Yoga Sutras too. But she talks about how electricity is not inherently good or bad. So, for example, if you plug a lamp into the wall and you turn on the lamp and you use the electricity that way, you have light and you think, well, this is fantastic, I have light for reading. But if you stick your finger in the same electrical socket, then you're going to electrocute yourself and you think electricity is bad and it hurt me. So karma is the same way. It's not really necessarily good or bad, but what we do with it. So in every moment, either consciously or unconsciously, we are taking actions, however minute, that create our own experience of future moments. And this, as Michael Stone says, our action has an effect. Our actions and intentions all contribute to the way things are. And so we started off this series on yoga philosophy on a class on sankalpa. And so our intentions, our sankalpa, are incredibly important to forming our own karma, to planting the seeds for what's going to ripen in our life. Our dispositions, our personalities, our psychological landscape, they all affect everything that we do, and so they implicate our karma as well. Our actions are always followed by residue. There's no thing that exists independent of our intentions and our actions. And I love how Michael Stone talks about the relationship between our actions, our psychological conditioning, and that when we act in a web of relationships. So nobody has their own karma alone. We're all in relationships, and this affects our karma. So for example, my karma does not sit alone. I'm married, and so my karma is affected by my husband's karma. We have a child together, and so our karma is influenced by our child's karma, and we put our karma onto our child. So just for example, when I bring teachings to you each week, it's not received solely by you. You take the teachings in, then you go out into the world and you act in a way that's influenced by your yoga practice and the teachings you receive, and that affects the whole web of relationships that you're involved in. And so karma is really complicated, and it's very much a web reaction. Just like if we throw toxins down our sink, this has a web of reaction in the world that's not very favorable for our environment. So karma is the consequences of our intentions and actions. But karma is really our actions in the here and now. We see that each moment we have the opportunity for awakening or shutting down. And Michael Stone, too, he talks about our actions in terms of body and speech and mind. And when I've interviewed him in the past, it's been really fascinating because we talk about how you could work with even just one of these for an entire lifetime. And we're going to work today with karma as it has built up in our body. So karma says that it is important to be responsible for everything that you do and to see clearly the effects of your actions. In other words, what you do now counts. And it's not just our practice on our mat. Our practice on our mat and our engagement in the world are one and the same. So we're able to use karma to create effects in our mind and our bodies that are like seeds that grow into particular modes of perception or particular ways of acting in the world. And so we practice on our mats, and then that affects our ways of being in the world. And these are all parts of planting seeds. Okay. So when you're ready, you can make your way up to sitting. And we're going to start with a breath practice today. It's a very cleansing breath practice. So as I mentioned before, the kleshas, they're kind of like these, if you imagine a window that's really dirty, you can't see clearly through the window because of these ways of our ego, our false perceptions of ourselves, forgetting our true nature, all that kind of thing. So if we do a breath practice that is a clearing, skull shining breath, we can help to clear that out. So I'm going to encourage you to support yourself in sitting in whatever way you need. Clear your nose, blow your nose before we start. Kapalabhati works by actively exhaling and drawing your navel back to your spine. And then you relax your belly and allow an inhalation to come in passively. So this is a kind of fake it until you make it breath. And it will get easier. Start slowly, really focus on the exhale, and the inhale will come in naturally. So take a deep breath in and exhale. Fully inhale, fully exhale, and then breathe in part way. Hold your breath until the need to exhale is great. Okay, so let's try that again. It can be helpful to place your hands on your belly to connect with that action of your navel drawing back toward your spine. And as I say, you can go more slowly as you're learning, and this will help you with it immensely to slow it down. Okay, let's try that again. Full inhale, full exhale. Breathe in part way. Hold. Draw up through your bandhas. Mula bandha, Uddiyana bandha, Jalandhara bandha. We did an episode on those too. You can go back to. And then you can exhale when the need is great. Okay, so this class I really think is part 2 of the samskaras class. Our karma gets held in our bodies. So when we did that class on the samskaras, we saw how our habitual ways of acting actually create shapes in our body and imprints in our bodies and dis-ease in our body and tightness in our body. And so when we practice yoga, a lot of what we're doing is working to balance this karma to create a better flow of energy and more flexible body and mind, more flexible on all levels of our being. So one of the things in our 21st century North American culture and any part of the industrialized world and the information age, we work at computers a lot. We do work that's in front of us, and this creates a rounded posture. And also we do a lot of work with our hands, and so our wrists and hands are tight. So let's just start by making fists and circling your wrists, and keep your elbows tucked into your body so that you're actually just moving your wrists and not your whole arms. And then circle your wrists the other way. Okay, you can stretch out your hands this way. And the other way. I can feel that go right up my arm. And then you can do maybe thumb towards your arm. Not everybody can do this. So don't force anything here. And then do each finger, so stretch each finger back. And think about how, I only have to look at my hands to realize the web of relationships that create the hands that I'm dealing with today. So, all the yoga I do, all the moving bodies I do in Thai massage and Phoenix Rising yoga therapy, caring for my family, cooking meals, lifting children, hugging children, holding children. All these things are stored in my hands. And so it has a physical effect in my body. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about those webs of relationships. Okay, just shake out that hand. And do the other hand. So for example, if something happens to one of your dependents that, they need extra care, or maybe they're in a wheelchair and you're going to have to push them around, then this affects you too. This affects your karma and your way of being in the world. That's why I love the idea of being cognizant of the web of relationships when we're talking about karma. The fact that you're born into a family that has its own karma already. Thumb to forearm. So you can always sit up on a chair or a block or a bolster here too, if it's uncomfortable to sit like this for any length of time. And then stretch out each finger. This feels so good in your hands. Okay, here's one that Tim just showed me. Take your thumb between the web on your ring finger and your baby finger and you twist your hand. And you move it out. Like bend your wrist or your whole arm. Whole arm. This is from Jiu-Jitsu. You can do this on both. Okay, so we circled, we flexed, we extended. You can do a little roller coaster here. This might make you want to break out the 80s bad rap music. Raising the roof. Okay, you can do, we should never take ourselves too seriously as yogis, really. That would be a no fun life. Screwing the light bulb, this one feels really good. Shaking feels really good. And then there's one more for your fingers. Flicking feels really good too. Okay, so just feel your hands now. Wow, does that ever feel better from that constricted feeling to that flexible and really open feeling? So that's fantastic. Okay, let's come on to all fours for cat pose. There's a reason why we practice cat pose in almost every yoga class. It works on the flexibility of the spine, which affects the entire body. And the yogis believe that the health of your spine determines your real age. So your chronological age, your age in years, is just one way of measuring your age. But if you look at the health of your spine, this is a much truer reflection of your real age. So part of being a yogi is staying young and limber. And so this is how we practice our yoga to create that karma of longevity for our physical bodies. Somebody the other day was asking me how old a certain yoga teacher was, and I said, I really have no idea because it's very difficult to tell how old yoga teachers are. Okay, so here we can also do some more stretches for our wrists. My students love these ones. So what you can do is turn your palms backwards so that your fingertips reach towards your knees. Now go easy on these. The way to make this stretch less is to walk your knees towards your fingertips. If you want to make it more intense, you're going to back up and lean back. Okay, and then walk towards your hands to release this and bring it out. Just take a little break and do some gentle circling. Hoo-ha! Okay. The next one we're going to do is to place the roofs of your hands on the floor, fingertips towards your knees. Okay, to make it easier, you can bend your elbows, move in closer to your hands. To make it more challenging, you can back up a bit. You can also wiggle your fingers here. This one's more intense for me. Okay, and then slowly release that. Okay. Wow, that's really big for me. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do, we spend so much time in our culture sitting in chairs, and this means that our hip flexor muscle is constantly contracted, and so this creates a samskara in our body where this muscle is so tight, and we can plant new seeds of karma in our yoga class by opening up our hips, the front of our hips. So take a step through with your left foot and lean forward into lunge. And it's important that we move our left foot first, because then not only are we opening up the front of our hip, but also our ascending colon here. And our ascending colon, we want this organ to be flexible and strong. So to open it up like this to create ease in it helps with elimination. And so the yogis believe that our health is really determined by the effectiveness of our digestion and good elimination. And so we create this seeds of karma for good health by practicing yoga, because so much of it helps with our digestion. And then you can sink through your front left foot and come upright. You're going to come into a twist here for the health of your organs and also for your digestion. So here's your option, is to turn and just take your right hand to the outside of your left knee. Or you can bring your right elbow all the way to the outside of your left knee. Bring your palms together at your heart center. Okay, and then come back center. Let's come into downward facing dog as a counter pose. And then walk your right leg through for lunge pose on the other side, opening up the front of your left hip. Sink through your front right foot, come upright. So two options for your twist here. Left hand to the outside of your right knee. You know, it's a good idea to double up on your mat. I kind of grinned and bared it on the other side, but on this side, I'm going to give myself some extra cushioning. Okay, so rotate here. Or elbow to the outside of your knee. Press into your palms. Okay, and then come back to center. You can uncurl your mat and step back into downward facing dog. Spread your fingers nice and wide, so let that hand stretch continue here. Reach out into the webs of your hands. Okay, and then bend your knees, come back down, and come to a seated position. Okay, so another thing that builds up in our bodies is that we sit in chairs all the time. And so I know the last one was about that too, but the other side effect of that is it makes our abdominals incredibly weak, and this causes tons and tons of problems. So let's work our abdominals with boat pose as a way to plant the seeds of karma for strong abdominals. Strong abdominals keep your organs in close to the center in the places where they're supposed to be. So if you think that if as your abdominals weaken and spread, your organs kind of move away from the midline, it really makes them less effective. So if only for that you need really strong abdominal organs. And strength there too is going to be really good for your digestion as well. Okay, so we want strong but supple abdominals, like a nice cat. So bend your knees and place your feet flat on the floor. Roll your shoulders back and down. Lengthen up tall through your spine. This exercise is safe for people unless you have a slipped disc or a herniated disc, and then you're going to skip this one if you do. Bring your arms out in front. Inhale. Exhale, you're going to lean back and hold, but stay long through your spine. Remember your bandhas. Lift up through your pelvic floor. Draw your navel back to your spine. Tuck your chin. And then come forward and up. Open your knees and sit forward. And then make your way back up to sitting. Squeeze your butt, lengthen up tall through your spine. Inhale here again. Exhale, lean back. So hinge back from your hips and open your arms out to the side. Keep breathing your belly back to your spine. And then lower your hands down on either side. Sway your knees from side to side. Okay, so we spend a lot of times sitting in chairs and in couches and rounding our backs and letting our abdominals be weak. So we can afford to do one more of these. Lengthen up long through your spine. Roll your shoulders back and down. Inhale. Exhale, lean back. This time you'll take one arm overhead and the other arm overhead. Great. And then lower down. So yes, shaking is normal. That's all your core stabilizers firing out for you. That's pretty normal. Okay. All right. From here, make your way up to standing. The other samskara that really sits in our body is this kind of rounded posture. And so this is from doing all these things in front of us as well. So let's plant new seeds of karma by doing inhale, draw your shoulders up. Exhale, roll them back and down. Okay, And then we often do Namaste hands in front of our heart. It can be really good to balance things, to do it behind our backs as well. So this can start, let me show you a few steps. One would be to hold on to your elbows here. This is a great first step. And then the next step would be to bring your hands up your back into Namaste hands. Okay, so slowly release your hands. Maybe shake that out a little bit. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. I am just about to sneeze, but I think it's past. Roll your shoulders back and down and open your chest. Tuck your tail under. And then turn sideways on your mat. Take your feet wide, and inner edges of your feet are parallel here. Hinge from your hips, roll your pelvis over your leg bones, lift your arms. There you go. And then slowly come up to standing. Okay. Great. So notice how these are, for me at least, I'm sure for you too, kind of challenging in your body. And it's because they go against our habitual way of holding our bodies. And that's the intention behind them, right? To create balance in our bodies based on what we do day to day, to do something different here to create balance in our bodies. Okay, come and stand at the front of your mat. Take a generous step back with your right foot. So your right foot should be turned in on an angle and your hips facing the front short edge of your mat. Then you're going to bend your front left knee, sink down through your front left sit bone. And float your arms up for Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So Warrior 1 pose is, I think, all about Sankalpa, intention. And you can go back and do that episode if you haven't already. But here you stand in present moment awareness without the influence of the kleshas, all the causes of suffering. And you create intention for your future. And so karma is about your intentions as well. Creating good intention that you'll move into action in your life. Okay, and then release this pose from your body. And so yoga is not only about our actions on the mat, but our actions in the world. So if you have space, step off your mat and step back with your left foot. Bend your front right knee and bring your arms up. And ask yourself what intention you're creating in your life, what intentions you have for your life. We're going to do a whole class on your Dharma next week, life purpose. So that will round out this series really nicely. Okay, and then release this pose from your body. Stand at the front of your mat again. Take a generous step back with your right foot. Okay, turn your right toes in on an angle. Bring your hips to face the long edge of your mat. Bend your front left knee. Roll your left knee out so you can see your big toe here. Bring your arms up to parallel to the ground. And you'll gaze over top of your left fingertips. So I think this pose just is so awesomely perfect for karma. Because in this pose, you have your right hand which represents your past. So all your past actions, all your past thoughts, all your past intentions, which create your present moment experience. And you stand in your present moment experience, you connect with your true self, and you create intention for your future where you're looking out over your left hand. So a perfect karma pose. Lower your arms, turn both your toes to the long edge of your mat, turn your right toe out so it's facing the other short edge of your mat, bend your front right knee, bring your arms up parallel to the ground. So as you experience this posture, ask yourself what past actions create your current circumstances, or what current circumstances are created by your past actions. And then from this present moment awareness, ask yourself what intentions you'd like to create now to plant the seeds of karma for your future. So for example, getting up and practicing your yoga every morning keeps your mind and body and spirit flexible and free, which will have a lasting impact in your lived experience. Okay, and then release your arms. Okay, and then the third warrior pose, Virabhadrasana 3, is about taking action. It's about shooting those peaceful arrows in the world and moving into action. So it was pretty funny last night because a lot of people, when we were doing this pose, were kind of falling over. And I said, just because you take action doesn't mean you're not going to fall flat on your face. If you do, you just get back up and go again. So it's kind of, it's so perfect for life. So take your arms straight up in the air. Shift your weight onto your left leg. And tip forward so that your body, your leg, and your arms come towards parallel to the ground. You can bend your left knee. Oops. See, you are going to fall. When you fall, you're just going to get back up and try again. Okay. Take a deep breath. Let's do this posture on the other side. Shift over to your right foot. Lengthen up tall through your body and your arms. Tip your body forward. Come towards parallel to the ground. Great. And then release your arms down. Okay. From here, you're going to come down to lying on your stomach. Lie down on your stomach. Bend your elbows so that your forearms are horizontal in front of you. We're going to do a pose that will bend our thoracic spine backwards and open up the fronts of our hips. So two parts of our body that are really super tight. So you're going to bend your right knee And reach around and hold on to your right ankle. Now be careful here. What happens for a lot of people is your knee goes way out to the side. You want to keep your leg in line, moving straight down out of your pelvis. If you can hold on to your ankle, hold on to your ankle. If not, you can hold on to the outside of your foot or the inside of your foot. And if you can't reach any of those things, then get a strap and wrap it around. Okay, from here, roll your shoulder back and up. Press the front of your pelvis into the ground. Breathe in. Breathe out. Draw your navel back to your spine. Inhale, pull your heel away from your buttocks and lift your chest up. Slowly lower yourself down. Release your right leg. Wiggle your hips from side to side. Just feel the difference between your right and left side of your body. And then bend your left knee. Reach around and hold on to your left ankle or foot. Roll your left shoulder back and up. Press the front of your pelvis into the ground. Inhale. Exhale, move your ankle away from your buttocks. Lift your upper body up. Tuck your chin so that it's your back moving, not your neck. And then slowly lower yourself down. Take your hands under your shoulders. Push yourself up and back onto your heels into child's pose. If this bothers your knees, you can always lie on your back and hug your knees into your chest. Inhale up onto all fours. Slide your right knee forward. Bring your right heel over to your left hip bone. Take your left leg back and long. And fold forward over your bent right knee. So this is pigeon pose. I mean, just being a human being means we have tight hips. Our everyday pedestrian activity creates tightness in our hips, and we can use our yoga to release the tightness in our hips. Take your hands under your shoulders, tuck your tail under, and lift your spine upright for a back bending version of this pose. And then take your left leg and bring it all the way around you so that your left foot comes on the floor to the outside of your right leg. Make sure you're sitting down on your left sit bones, so your left butt cheek is down and your left foot. If that's not happening, take your right leg straight out in front of you. Okay? Lengthen up through your spine. Wrap your right arm around your left leg. Turn toward it and look over your left shoulder. So this pose is fantastic for our spine, for our organs, for our digestive system. All planting the seeds for good health and longevity. You turn back towards the front, release your legs. Shake them out. And then come back up onto all fours. Let's do this little sequence on the other side. Slide your left knee forward. Bring your left heel over to your right hip bone. Reach your right leg back and long. Fold forward over your bent left knee. Take your hands under your shoulders, bring your spine upright. And then take your right leg from behind you, cross it all the way over your bent left knee. Sit down on your right buttocks, place your whole right foot on the ground, lengthen up through your spine. Wrap your left arm around your right leg and turn toward it. Option to straighten your left leg up. Okay, release this posture from your body and come to a sitting position for a short meditation. I'm going to read you an excerpt from Alberto Villoldo's translation of the Yoga Sutras. A few verses on karma. In every garden, the seeds of karma will sprout. The gardener may be a man in this lifetime, a woman in the next. Today or tomorrow, the same plants will grow their bitter fruit, even when the seeds fall from the fur of a creature who sows them unknowingly as he trots across your meadow. Karma will grow and bear fruit when the conditions are right. Always you have chosen life, breathing without thinking, pulling yourself out from the ocean, filling your lungs with air, learning to walk on the earth. Before the first cell divided, before you inhabited your form, you chose life. So too, karma has always existed, before time and after time, entwined with life, with cause and effect, with mind and desire. Look beyond the past and future, perceive that tomorrow affects today, and that all events unfold exactly as they should. Let go of your need to orchestrate your life, and your karma will dissolve. Caught in the stories of karma, you perceive past and future as real. Free yourself from karma, and tomorrow dissolves into yesterday. Your hapless stories and noble battles will no longer be retold. The form and expression of karma will vary, sometimes obvious, sometimes subtle. You may think you have never experienced these sagas before. Karma is a play with a well-worn script. Inspiration, action, and obstacles determine its plot. You confuse it for reality. The mind is the gardener sowing the seeds of karma, duty-bound to plant according to the will of the true self, the master it serves. The yogi no longer confuses the gardener for the master. He is discerning, and he attains liberation. Thank you for joining us for episode 78 of Namaste Yoga. Give yourself some time to sit in meditation further and to rest back and relax in Shavasana. Thank you again to all those who donate to Namaste Yoga. You can go to my website, www.melissawest.com. And if you enjoy these podcasts, please do consider making a donation there, www.melissawest.com. Namaste.